Oh, 700 white. You've been sitting here taking up space, frustrating me every time I see you. And I want to try to figure out what the problem is. And we're going to try right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, Ross the Oliver Man. Also, kind of a slob. That's no secret by now. I got a lot of trash that needs picked up. I'm over it. But at least the snow has melted enough that we can actually see everything again and the ground and start to pick up and whatever. But that is neither here nor there. This tractor's been sitting here and I thought that I had it all figured out and it was going to be so wonderful and whatever. And then we discovered that it has a strange quirk about it. Let's first try to see if it'll even run. It should. That shouldn't have changed. But the thing that it was doing, and I probably should be on the other side because we got it all hooked up now. This darn instrument panel is hot whenever I turn the key on. See if it'll still do it. I turn the key to the first position and it arcs. And I have tried everything, friends. I took things loose one at a time. I'm just about at my wit's end here. I mean, the only thing, well, see, we don't know exactly whether or not it was doing this before, because that's entirely possible because the wires were all melty. So it could have been that it used to do this and then when it melted it enough it didn't, and then when I fixed it it started doing it again. That's a potential, but it's just bizarre. Somebody said, well, maybe you have something that's sending power through to the ground. You know what I mean? And I think we've pretty well investigated all of that and been down that road. See, all my crap is still in here from... But this is like, I can't use this for anything. If this is the case, I guess I could start it up and shut the electrical system off and just let the engine run, but then you've got no gauges. It's just a frustrating situation to find oneself in. So, what to do? Well, we could clamp. Let's see if this test light even works, because I don't know that this test light actually works anymore. I think I have a better one somewhere. Let's take it to the battery, because this is not going to work. See if I got it. Yeah, as suspected, this is not the good test light. Well, we're going to scrap the test light theory and let's just use the multimeter. And let's hope that we can get some kind of results. Now I need to... Let's put this back up here. Let's see if this... If I put this on the ground, and I put this on this panel, and then I grow a third hand, instead of this darn third leg, no. But if I do this, and then I turn the key on, it turns, and it says 12 volts. So what could be going on, friends? And I know that it's not that it's getting its power through those grounds, because I just checked it using that, and if that was the case, then it wouldn't, my multimeter wouldn't say 12 volts, it would cancel out. And I took everything off of this panel, friends, with the exception of one thing that might be the problem. And that is this cigarette lighter outlet thing. It has 3 wires going into it. And I wonder if one of them is not correct. You know what I mean? I've got this yellow. And I've got a red, and I don't even know where they go. They both go into a fuse box. And then I got this black one off to the side. I got this red and this yellow one. Let's unplug them. Now, there is nothing on the cigarette lighter. Let's see if that was the thing, because I don't think I did that last time. And it's looking good, friends. I think I figured it out. So now, we got to figure out what about that cigarette lighter is causing our issue. So this black one puts 12 volts in, and I think that that could very well be the problem. Because I bet you that black one is supposed to be a ground. Because I bet you this red one here puts out 12 volts, and it does. And this yellow one is not on, but I bet it comes on with headlights. Well, there I got 0.1 volt if I do. Huh. We got to Fiat the horn. Okay. So now the question remains, what gives? Why for art thou doing this? Well, we know that these two go together. He says, as he has it in such a way that he'll never get them plugged together ever again. But we're going to check along the way, along life's way, to make sure that we don't do something dumb. But I think the problem is that it was putting that one side was a ground, but I don't understand why that is hooked up the way it is anyway. Alright. Because the red one should be your hot. And we still got nothing. Let's check this black one again. We got 12 volts. Okay. So we've discovered our problem. But now, our next problem is why. Why was that the way that it was? And why did that not... Why is that wired up the way that it is? Because that is essentially hooked to the thermostarter. And I think for this, I should have probably got the owner's book again. I don't know where it is. I think I took it back in the house. so that it didn't get all ruined. But I'm thinking I'm going to be looking at that again and figuring out why the cigarette lighter is the way that it is. Did somebody replace the cigarette lighter and it has not gotten correctly wired up since? Because what I could do is hook this wire out of the back of it to this black wire, and then it would have 12 volts. But who decided that the red and the yellow wire go to whatever position they are in the fuse box? That's the next struggle bus, friends. And that's the only thing I can think of, is that somebody has replaced it at some point and they just did their own thing, not realizing that they put hot to ground, because that's what they did. And then I just made it, you know, I fixed the damaged stuff, but then found this problem. And that's because they would have had it with a 12 volt going to the center out of the fuse box, and then also 12 volt going to the ground. So they were causing a major problem the whole time this panel was bolted up. So let me go try to get the book again. Hopefully it's in the house. It could be in the pickup. But if I could find what's supposed to go where, or how many wires the cigarette lighter is supposed to have, then I will know how I want to proceed here. But in my notion, what I want to do is just, I guess what I'm saying is I want to make sure that that cigarette lighter thing has enough power in case I use it as a power outlet. This seems like a very small wire, but it is in fact, see, that doesn't make sense either though, friends. Why is this yellow wire going to the fuse box? It shouldn't. If it's supposed to be a lit up sort of affair, then it really shouldn't be doing that thing. I'm pretty sure this one was the one that went to the hot. So that should be going to the center, and then we just need to run a new ground from there to down here somewhere, and that would be causing everything to work correctly. Likewise, another thing that could be happening is that light that lights up the ring is not lighting because it doesn't have a ground, because I believe that's what's, the yellow wire just is for illumination of this outer ring. So if I were to take a junk wire here, which I'm sure I won't be able to just pull one loose because I want to, you know, but if I were to put this on here and this to the ground and then turn the key on, do I get any kind of light at all? No. But I got the horn. I tell you, friends, I don't smoke even. So I'm not so sure that I really care about this cigarette lighter. I just want the wires hooked up correctly so they're not arcing out or dangling into anything else important. But that is, I'm glad we found the problem. And worst case scenario, I'm just going to pull all the wires off that cigarette lighter and be done with it. I don't need it. It's a hassle. It's caused me trouble already. But I would like to see where it's supposed to get power from, because I don't think it's supposed to go through these up into the top of the fuse box like that. I just don't think so. But let me go grab the book and then we'll see. And if it works like I think, then we're going to be done here in a very short amount of time, which will be lovely. All right, friends. Oh, I thought my light would help us, but it's dead. I swear there are times when I feel like I must be dreaming or in an alternate universe, because today all of the pieces match up just like what I got here. We've got G and R, which is yellow and red. They're going from the cigarette lighter up to the fuse box, just like they're supposed to be. Then it shows a ground But how did we end up with that black one spliced in to the other black ones? I had from the switch, I had in, which is black. It goes into the bottom of the fuse box. The other side, it comes out of the fuse box. It goes up here. It goes to the thermostarter switch. And then it goes up on through to the thermostarter under the hood. And I swear to you that there was another wire. That went on that. And I'm wondering if that was... Did I misread that as M? And the M wire, 1554 terminal, and M would go over to the bottom side of the fuse box. At any rate, it doesn't matter. What matters is I'm just going to cut this black wire up here. My poor manual's getting dirty, but I bought it to use, not to look at, so that's fine. But what I'm going to do is find wherever this is connected in now, and it's going to become unconnected in, and it's going to become a ground, and I think it goes in right there. It's barely connected, friends. We need to make sure we tape that up, but maybe I didn't splice that one in there. I would have assumed that I spliced it at the key, which shows correctly. I have stuff the way it's supposed to be, but this is going to become the ground for this cigarette lighter. I'm going to put an eyelet on it, and we're going to go to one of those bolts, and that's going to be the end of it. And we're going to be done, and we're not going to worry about this anymore, because that's nonsense, friends. I mean, it was just fine. I would say what happened is the last guy, he tied this into that other thick black wire, not realizing that this one was actually a ground, and that's why all of his wiring melted, and they just put it back together, and it melted enough that it quit burning stuff, but nothing worked right. And then dummy me comes along and fixes all the burnt wiring, and I start roasting the wiring again, because I had it wired up the way that they had it wired up, which is not correct. So, once again, I really need to get some tape and give that another extra wrap, even though that won't get any power until the thermostat button is pressed. But we need to get an eyelet for this, and then we should be on our way, friends. I mean, on our way, what I mean is to bolt this dash together, which is long overdue. Okay, friends. That was kind of a struggle bust, believe it or not. Second try, of course. The first one I twisted off. Why wouldn't I? You know? But we are going to take the ground loose, which you probably can't really see because it's down in there. But if we do this one little thing here, we should be in good shape. It's just amazing that, I mean, it's hard when you unsort somebody else's mess ups. Then you just have to do a lot of trial and error and not understanding why. Whoa. Did that just arc out? It shouldn't. The key's off. There's just no good way to figure it out until you just trial and error it. Because yeah. But I'm going to say this is exactly what happened. The last guy spliced that wire, which is supposed to be a ground, he spliced it into a hot wire that went to the thermostarter, button, because they are a similar type wire. And then what happened was it ended up roasting the whole thing. But now if I turn on the key, no more arky. If I turn on my multimeter, which now you can see as well, if I turn that on, get my 2 leads, get them out where I can see it, I should have no power there. But then how do I get, let's see, if I take the cigarette lighter out, that's really weird because it fell out on the trailer. If I put it in there, I got 12 volts. 12 volts in the center, but now the panel is dead. So we are in good shape, friends. So when I push that, I should get 12 volts to the thermostarter, but hazard flasher, which I don't think any of the stuff is hooked up. This is turn signal, I think. So that should be in the center. Okay, anywho, what I'm getting at here is, I think we got her licked. Now, I did mess up by not being more prepared, because I think to put this panel on, I should probably get more clips, right? Because as we determined previously, we do not have the correct amount of things. We don't have, to be able to put this up correctly, I really need some more, like it takes these kind of screws, and it only had 2. The bottom had self-tappers, but they weren't even in the right orientation. So that's going to be a problem. So I don't know why I keep going, because we're not going to get done, because I got to go to the parts store to get the other pieces. Somewhere I thought I had some that I had brought along, but I wouldn't know where that is, because we're going to put it back together more the right way. Somebody there tried to self-tapper in up higher because this was not there anymore, but then he missed it. There's no sheet metal where this went. It went like right beside it. But for tonight, that's going to hold it. I don't remember where that came out of. I do remember seeing that and thinking about that. But whatever. There's a lot of stuff on this poor feller that needs attention, but where are you going to find another one? You're not. So it's kind of just been a take it easy as you go process, but we're finally back on track again. I mean, I was really scratching my head about this, because there is no reason why, like right now, when I turned the key on the last time, it was rolling smoke out of the dash, and that won't work. Now did my horn quit now? Well, obviously I pulled something loose when I did that, which happened before. I pulled the horn wire off, so now I would have to take the dash all the way apart again, which I'm going to have to do anyway whenever I just can't have nice things, friends. I tell you. Which one would I have pulled loose? That's really weird. We just had it working good, and then now tell you, this has just been one of those projects. I normally don't really mind wiring that much, but this particular time, this has just been ridiculous. I mean, what? Why is the horn not working now? Come on. If I take this loose, does it work? No. The horn should be the purple wires. Or is it that it came off of the key? I had that once too. Where it came off of the key. Something did. This is a very... That's what it is. Something came off of the key. So you gotta check when you start putting stuff on, because if it quits working, then you didn't really get it, you know? Oh, what a struggle bus you've been, my 700 friend. Now I'm not in there either. Get in there, y'all. Well, we'll see how long it lasts now before I have to do other work to it to get the stuff to work that just worked 5 minutes ago. So shut the key off and see in a minute when we tighten the screws if it still worked again. Because I'm about over it, friends. This tractor, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I need to get more. Okay, now, will you run? You haven't run for a long time because of winter. I gotta remember how you work too. It starts with a key now, doesn't it? Push the clutch. Listen to that, sweetheart. Fire's right up and not even smoke. It is warm today, but that thing has not run for a month. You rev it up and the charging light goes out, so that must mean that it's charging now. Well, that's pretty sweet. Boy, I tell you, this silly thing, it's put up a fight, but we're nearing the ability to be able to use it. One thing we got to do now is, it appears to have 0 brakes, so we got to sort that out. I'm not exactly sure where we fill that. Maybe that's why they cut that panel in, maybe. I was thinking there was a little tank under the hood, but I don't know, we'll sort that out. Another question I had was, does the 3-point hitch work? That did nothing. That did nothing. Put them both down. Do they go down? Yes. Okay, I put them both down. I'm not real sure how that works. I probably should read the book. Do you have to control which one? No. Maybe you leave that one up and use the inside one. We'll read the book and find out, but would be nice to use it for something. See, try out our repaired spear. However, this will not work. We're gonna have to see if this top link is long enough. These Fiats sometimes take a extra long top link compared to our normal stuff over here. I think this is just one I had laying around, so it may not be anywhere close. And I think the extra long one that I did have on hand, I think I cut it up to use on that case tractor that we bought and never did anything with. So that's great, isn't it? Let's leave that there. Let's actually put that sideways. I don't know where this top link came from. It was a freebie probably with something else. And that's not gonna work. That lock's not gonna go. But there's the spear is flat. And now it raises up pretty well straight up. I would like it to be a little more pitched up slightly, but I don't think I have that choice. I don't know. At least it goes up and down. We'll try it. We'll try it with a bale here one of these days. Yeah, I don't know. It's working. The next question I got is PTO. And I don't remember. This was the PTO. But is there also a shifter like on the other ones? Or is it just that's on and the other way's off? That did nothing. That did nothing. Okay. When in doubt, read the book. Is the handbrake. Differential lock, fuel tank, there we go. The two little short levers are remote cylinder levers. I knew that. External cylinder and 3-point hitch cannot be used simultaneously. I wonder what that means. I wonder if that means you can't physically be lifting whilst you're pulling up on a remote cylinder. That would make sense, but power takeoff. To engage PTO, raise PTO clutch lever. To disengage PTO, push PTO control rod down and engage PTO clutch. PTO control rod is on the opposite side, behind the handbrake. So I need to raise the PTO lever, push the PTO rod down, and engage clutch. Operate engine at 2125 or 540 and 2410 for 1000. Oh. Okay, I get it. It has a dual speed PTO like the Alice Chalmers used probably, where you take those bolts loose and you turn it around. Either that or you had a different stub shaft to put on there to make her go that lined up with a different set of holes. So if I want PTO, I raised this up, then I go back here. Ooh, I put that in. I think my PTO cable might need a slight bit of adjustment. Now I turn this on. It sounded like it's going. Oh yeah. Okay. So, clutch. And then pull this up. And then put this back down. And there we have it. PTO. Okay. So, let's shut her down. What a good little horse. The horn quit working, but sure. There we go. Okay. So what have we learned? Well, we're getting closer to actually being able to use this for stuff. And now we've verified we've got 3-point hitch. We've got PTO. We haven't verified them under a load, but I don't know why they wouldn't. If we want to use remotes, we're going to have to do a lot of work because it doesn't appear that those outlets are probably going to do much for us, friends. As well as the fact that they're all mix matched. The hoses are half rotten. I mean, one nice thing is I can kind of see where they all go right there, so maybe we can easily change them. Question mark. It's going to be some JIC hoses, custom made, and then we'll get 4 new ends and snap ring in there somehow. But yeah, I mean, that's the way that it was. I've looked at this before. It'd be cool to find the plug that fit in there so a guy could make up something to, you know, tap into what's there if he needed it. I'm just taking her all in. What a beauty, right? I mean, isn't she a beauty? Just a rusty mess. Rusty mess. The fenders are terrible. That cab is pathetic. I'm still on the fence about that, really. The cab is so rough, maybe I should just take it off and junk it. Even though it's kind of cute that it's... I've never seen one with this kind of cab on it before. So, I hate to just throw away history. Also, I'm not entirely sure how this would work in relation to this. I think we decided that the hood is sitting on top of the cab now, and really the hood would have sat down a little lower on the back. I don't know. But the side panels line up, so I don't know. It depends on how much I want to do. It's just had a very rusty life, you know. I wish I could find a parts Fiat 580 or whatever these were, 780, I can't remember. I want to say 780, but I might be wrong. Anyway, I found one that was a little bit bigger, and then I never got back with that guy, but he was far away, and I don't know if people will want to ship, because what I would need is 2 fenders and the floor pan. The floor pan is junk on this tractor. Bad, like. I mean, I just don't know how we're going to proceed here. I've got some ideas of what we're going to do. This side is actually better than the other side because it's still got some of the contour left, whereas the other side does not. And I'll have to do it in such a way it actually is going to be This is your cab mount. It's pushed up. So this floor is sunk down this much. And it needs to come up. And then this is part of the cab mount here, or the floor pan mount off of the frame. So it's going to take some clever patching here to make this play nice, which is definitely a warm weather project. And I don't know, I'm really, the more I think about it, the less I like this cab. Who cares? But I mean, it's just a piece of garbage, right? It's really done the tractor some harm. But I really think that this would be a handy thing to have around with a cab in the wintertime for an emergency job that you didn't want to freeze your Knudsen off doing. So I don't know, but I feel like the cab will have to come off to fix it, because we got to practically build us fenders. I mean, these fenders are just not, imagination is the only thing holding them together. I mean, there is nothing left. I mean, they have had it, friends. So I gotta do, and the cab just sits down on top of it. It doesn't have any sort of structure to the back other than it just sits on the fenders, which are now toasted. So I don't know. The cab will be an expensive thing to fix if we keep it, because every piece of glass needs redone. It's just one of those things, friends. What do you do? It'd be kind of cool if I just had a little canopy on it, you know, like a factory style canopy. I don't know. I just feel like it needs something. It needs something, not just open, but I don't know. I kind of like it. Just like this brush guard. Does one keep it, or does one get rid of it? Well, it's protected the tractor this far in life, and you could shove a moose out of the way with it, but that's definitely not factory, but it's definitely heavy duty. So I don't know. This piece, I think I can get that reproduction. It's expensive, but that might be the cheapest way, because it's rotted out at the bottom on both sides. I can get those headlights, I'm pretty sure, complete, because that one won't stay. I think we got the stuff that's hard to find. I think we got, and the stuff that we need we can get, with the exception of a floor pan. Yeah, but I'm saying this summer we're gonna strip this cab off, and we'll figure out how we can make her go, and then we'll decide if we want to put the cab back on once we have the floor solid and the fender solid and whatever, because we are missing a lot of floor. I mean, I don't think people realize that. This side, you can see the floor pan's actually supposed to come down 90 degrees, and then your step mounts to it. On the other side, that's all gone. There's nothing left. See, here's part of the floor pan. It's supposed to come down 90 degrees. That's gone on the other side. So we're missing a lot. But like I said, we got a lot here. This is a solid little tractor underneath all of its flaws of sheet metal. The actual structure part of the tractor seems to be pretty good, and it runs excellent. All right, so I think we're going to leave this one here whilst we had a moderate success, because we finally accomplished something. I'll get some more sheet metal stuff to put the panel on good, then we can actually use it for something. However, we do need to look into the brakes, figure out what type of brake fluid it takes, and put some in and see about bleeding it or whatever is leaking or needs to be fixed on there, because I'm kind of a believer you need brakes. And these tractors had hydraulic brakes, and they had a separate hydraulic system than the regular tractor's hydraulic system for the brakes. So we got to do what we got to do and figure out what's necessary there, so we can, you know, not kill ourselves. But I'm liking what I see so far. We'll continue to make this better a little as we go. As the weather gets nicer, we'll have more opportunities to do that. I just really wish this cab was a little bit better. It would certainly make decisions a lot easier as far as that goes. because like I said, that right there is something that kind of makes you want to keep it, but not really. But somebody went to the trouble of switching the door hinges I talked about before, changing it around, and did a fairly decent job because it matches up. But I don't know, it's part of the tractor story, but at the same rate, how far do you go to fix an aftermarket cab? Because that is not a factory style Fiat cab, but they never made one of these with a factory style cab for whatever reason. You could get it as open station or with a canopy, but not with the Fiat style cab, and I don't get that. So whatever, it's just one of those things, friends. It's just one of those things. But I'm still glad I got it. I wish I could have sorted it out when the weather was miserable, so I could have been using it for stuff. But it is what it is. So until next time, we're going to leave this one here. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Do you suffer from low intelligence and are easily entertained? Well, then hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment. And that way we can keep making entertainment that your feeble minds can understand. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.